Hi, I'm Max Walker&Williams, and I just wanted to make a short video to help explain the recent outage that we've experienced on the Hedera Hashgraph network. A sentence I never thought I'd have to say. So on March the 9th, a hacker found a weakness in the smart service contract code on Hedera Hashgraph, and they were able to take advantage of this weakness and steal Hbar and other tokens out of liquidity pools. If you want to know what a liquidity pool is and you're not sure, click the link in the description below where I've created other videos about liquidity pools and how they work. Some of the liquidity pools that were attacked on Hedera Hashgraph were HeliSwap, SaucerSwap and Pangolin. So no retail wallets were at risk, no Hbar in wallets were at risk, and retail users like you and I were absolutely fine. This was a very specific attack to a piece of code on top of the Hedera network, and at no time was the Hedera mainnet down. Okay, so if the mainnet never went down, how come people couldn't see the Hbar balances in their wallets? How come they couldn't open certain apps? And how come all the transactions per second that we watch on the internet stopped? Well, the mainnet was still up and live. There was no issue there, but the governing council members voted unanimously to stop service access to the proxies, to the proxy servers, to the nodes. And so that meant that the hackers, Hedera had the opportunity to get a feel for what was happening, see the size of the attack, and also stop the attacker from transferring Hbars over the network. And so I think they made the right decision, because they couldn't have possibly have known the potential size of the attack, where the attack was coming from, and so on. So I think they made a wise decision. Now, some of the fallout of this will be other people in the crypto space and people in the Hedera ecosystem saying, well, the platform's clearly centralized. But at no point has anyone said that the governing council can't turn on and off their nodes. They voted, made a decision, and they decided to stop access to the nodes for this very specific reason. Now, in time, Hedera isn't currently decentralized like other people think Bitcoin is, or the other crypto projects. And thank goodness, because this is why, for me, Hedera is such a unique and important platform, because they do everything step by step. And look, we found a weakness in this code, and fortunately, it wasn't years down the road when we reached decentralization, but it was at a point where we could quite quickly do something about it. It took 13 hours for the software engineers at Hedera to come up with a fix, to fix the bug in the software. And from being notified that the smart contracts were under attack, to the upgraded software going live was 41 hours, which is amazing. To put that in perspective, other platforms that have faced similar challenges have been shut down for 3, 4, or even sometimes 5 weeks. But to create a fix in 13 hours and from start to finish 41 hours, that's not bad at all. The other thing I think is important, that it's good for Hedera to have a test of this nature, to see what happens to the Hbar price, to see how the community responds, both the Hederian community, but also the wider crypto community, to see how Hedera would react and the governing council members. You know, have any of the use cases sort of just been scared off and decided actually Hedera isn't for us? And I think it's been a pretty positive outcome on all of those. The Hedera community on Twitter really rallied together to ask if they could help, support, trying to find out what's going on, keeping calm. There wasn't people speculating too much and causing alarm. I think Hedera and the Hbar Foundation and Swirls Labs all communicated really openly and honestly in real time as best they could. They gave all the information that they had at the time, and I think that was really important. There was no radio silence. There was no panic. I think that was really important. And Hbar's price has gone up 10-15% since the mainnet went live again. And I think that's a true reflection of the response that came from Hedera, the community, Swirls Labs, and the Hbar Foundation. So that was really, really positive. Some of the people in the space have been saying, at the same time as the Hbar Foundation really ramping up their advertising on Twitter and being quite spicy, with their advertising, sort of poking gentle fun at other networks and that sort of thing, that actually maybe this was a malicious attack by another platform, such as Ethereum or alike. And I don't believe that's true for a second. I believe the bug was in a piece of Solidity smart contract code, specifically HIP 206. HIP 206 was authored by a chap called Dan O'Ferrin. Dan O'Ferrin is the lead software engineer at Hedera Hashgraph. There was no maliciousness as far as I can see, He's was and is an employee of Hedera Hashgraph, and so there was no malicious intent. It was just a genuine oversight. But I'm sure Hedera, Swirls, and others will come out with the official story. This is just me speculating. This is where I think the issue was with HIP 206, and this is the person that was the author of that code. I believe it was an oversight. I do not believe there was anything malicious at all, and the timing with the Hbar Foundation's fantastic advertising was just coincidence. Pure and simple. Again, at this point, this is just speculation on my part, but I believe I found the hacker's wallet, and I'm going to show you that in a second on the screen. I also believe, I think, from what I can see, from what I can make sense of, they've got away with $325,000. So, not a small change, but not a massive hack, in the spectrum of cryptographic hacks from the 300, 400, 500 million all the way up to a couple of million. But it's still, nevertheless, $325,000, and they've still got a lot of tokens stuck in their Hbar wallet, which I'll show you now on screen. So what do I think? I think that it isn't just what happens to you in life, it's how you respond to it that's equally important. And I think the response from Hedera, Swirls, and the Hbar Foundation, plus the community, has been absolutely fantastic. Of course, you're going to have people in other communities making fun and having a bit of a laugh, and that's all fine. But I think actually it was a pretty good test, and what a great time to be doing it now rather than when Hedera's got community nodes and then permissionless nodes and it's completely decentralized, because it would have been a lot harder to sort out once we're in that position. And I think it's good to see Hedera hit a road bump. To see that test of strength and test of character is brilliant, and now we know, so that's great. And I think, just to explain this for a way, because everyone who watches my stuff knows that I love an analogy. It's a bit like this is a human. So I was young, I was stupid, I was 19 years old, I was stood on a fence, drunk, singing "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" to some girls, trying to impress them. There was an oversight on my part that I believe the fence was stronger than it was. It gave way, I fell, and I dislocated my arm. It was a really, really bad dislocation, my left arm, front dislocation. Does it mean that I'm going to die? No. Does it mean that the network is dead? No. Is it a serious issue? Yes, absolutely, but it isn't life-threatening, okay? I'm still there, I'm still fine. It was painful, my pride was hurting more than my arm, but it was a serious dislocation. So I went to hospital, and the doctors diagnosed the issue, or in this case, the software engineers diagnosed the issue. But in order to fix it, in order to make sure that nothing else went wrong, I had to go under general anesthetic. And that's kind of what happened to Hedera Hashgraph. The body was still absolutely live, up and running. At no point in that operation did I die, but I was put to sleep. So you couldn't have a conversation with me. I was still there, my brain was still working, but I couldn't have a conversation with you. And that's very similar to exactly what we experienced with Hedera Hashgraph. The body didn't die, it was under general anesthetic while the software engineers or the doctors fixed this problem. They fixed my arm, they put me back in. I felt very embarrassed, and for a couple of weeks I was in a sling, and that was all good. With the Hedera Hashgraph, they fixed the issue, they woke me back up, or they turned the nodes back on, and off we go. We're absolutely fine. So at no point did the patient die, at no point did the main network go down. We just weren't able to have a conversation with the nodes because they were under general anesthetic. And that's the way I look at it. I hope this video has gone some way to explaining exactly what happened. I'm sure there'll be a few more pieces coming out by Hedera and Swirls just to explain exactly what happened, who did what, how it was solved, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading that information. But as I say, overall, I think this is about as positive an outcome as you could possibly expect from something as potentially dangerous as a hack. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.